Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. Hello. How you guys doing tonight? It's John, the firearms instructor, and welcome to Tuesday Night Live at the range. Got a little bit of a different backstop here. We're using a little bit of green screen this evening. I'm trying to work from my desk as much as possible so I don't look at the monitors and not pay attention to you guys. We're setting this up a little differently. Let me know how you like it. You know how this works. If you are on the live this evening and you are new or you are one of our originals, go ahead and comment. Let us know you're here. Looks like they've changed things up, so I'm going to be able to see the comments as you're making them. I appreciate that as much as possible. We want to do a little bit of commercials for you guys first. And it's not commercials for other people. It's commercials for myself. That's how we do. We support ourselves by adding these things. First of all, we want to talk about our ebooks. We have our ebooks. If you have not got one of our free ebooks, we want to give every person who follows, subscribe to us, sees anything, one of our free ebooks. All you got to do is pick one of the ebooks off of the link down below in the descriptions, and you will be able to pick one of these ebooks and get it in your cart for free. All you got to do is put free book at checkout, and you'll get it for free. Those books are $3.99. And you're getting it for free. But if you want to add a couple more books to the cart, those books are on sale. They're $2.99. That $2.99 is a deal in itself. If you want to take advantage of any of those and add a few more to the cart, it will not hurt my feelings one bit. We would appreciate you adding a couple to it. And what are they about? They're about grip and stance and trigger control and sight picture and sight alignment. Everything that you have a problem with, we're able to solve them with the ebooks. So there is the commercial for the ebooks. And the next thing is our masterclass. We have one starting next Monday night at 7 p.m. This is our fourth masterclass. We had the beta group, and we're just finishing up on our third, guys, and we're looking for some more people. Now, the masterclass has gone the ramen of pricing, and now we've dropped it to $99.99. You get 4 solid weeks working directly with me. You get the course, you get the ebooks, you get the training, you get the PowerPoint presentation every Monday night at 7 p.m. And I'm putting a money back guarantee on this since we've been doing it with about, I think we're about 30 students in, and we've had 100%. I won't say 100%. I will say like 97% process of students become better shooters. How would you like in 4 weeks master your handgun and to be able to outshoot your brother-in-law next time you take him to the range? He aggravates you, I know. He doesn't shoot all the time, but he seems to understand how to shoot a pistol. How would you like to outshoot him and finally win one of these shooting competitions that you put yourself into trying to beat him? That stinking brother-in-law happens, and I can help you with that if you sign up for the masterclass. What do you need? You need a firearm. You need Monday nights at 7 p.m. for a 30-minute PowerPoint presentation. You're going to need at least 1 day a week to go to the range for 30 minutes. And I'm going to give you drills. I'm going to give you homework. I'm going to give you the course system itself. The course system itself, not only does it give you the how to hold a gun. There's going to be a video correlating with it as well that says what the gun is all about, And each video, when I say proper grip or proper stance or sight alignment or sight picture or pressing a trigger, all of that stuff is showing up directly in the course itself. And by the end of those 4 weeks, it's actually 5 weeks, you're going to understand how to properly press a trigger to become a better shooter. All right. All right, cool. That's there. We set that up. They keep talking about. We're trying something a little different. They talked about the beta is going to put the comments directly on the screen. But Kurt Richards, how you doing from New Jersey? We appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Tonight's Tuesday Night Live we're going to dive into what every shooter needs to hear. There are 10 things you're probably not doing enough of at the range. And trust me, these are the same habits holding you back from real progress. You've got the gear, you made the time, but if you're not training smart, you're just burning ammo. And that's true, guys, if you think about it. That's why I always talk to you guys about 5 shots at a time and getting comfortable doing it. One of the most important things people do is they tend to end up wasting a lot of ammo when they fill a magazine full of rounds. We're going to talk about the most common things I see shooters skipping. Hey, thanks, Stan, for saying that. Stan said that he highly recommends the masterclass. It helps me out. It helped him out immensely. I appreciate you saying that, Stan. It means a lot to me, buddy. Matter of fact, Stan, when you get a chance, if you want to, you can do a little video with your phone and send me that text me that. I can use that for advertisement, if you don't mind. You don't need to go into great details. Just talk about the class and how it helped, and you would highly recommend it. It would help me out tremendously. I would appreciate it, Stan. I forgot to ask some of that group to do that, and it would really just a real simple little grab the phone and do a little video would help out tremendously. Any other people that are on here that have done the master class, that would help me out too. Whether you're brand new at shooting or been to range 100 times, this live is going to sharpen your training and level up your accuracy. So grab a notebook, drop a question in the chat. Let's make the session count. Let's go. There are 10 things shooters aren't doing enough. Okay. These are 10 things shooters are not doing enough. And if I come up with one that you have that you don't think I mentioned, go ahead and put that down below. So what I did, guys, is I took the master class, and I've been working with students for a few weeks now. Well, since February, and I've had every month I've had a master class. And I kind of use the same system I use whether you for an hour's class or this master class. I just took the master class out and broke it up into consumable bites, if that makes sense. And we were giving, so when I take a training class during the day, I only have an hour to get them through everything. And obviously, most people do pretty well with that, if that makes sense. But it's not always, they don't gather everything. Within the master class, you get a lot of little tricks and tips and techniques right off the bat. But one of the things I found out that helped out students the most is the dry firing. And I'm guilty of it just as much as most likely you guys are. I don't dry fire enough. I don't spend enough time behind the gun. Now, I shoot almost every day. I don't think, Sundays, I'm off on Sundays, so I really don't shoot on Sundays. But 6 days a week, 365, I'm normally doing something with a firearm. I'm doing a trigger, or I'm doing a training class, or I'm doing something else to help someone consume what they need to do. But dry firing is one of those things that people don't do enough of. Derek, you are correct. Derek says it only takes 5 minutes a day. That is true, buddy. That if you have that mentality, in the masterclass, we've got these guys doing 20 dry fires a day. And they tend to get bored with it. But once they got the system, every one of them comes back to me and says, oh, well, that's what caused that. Because now you're going to start identifying those little bobbles and bullcrap thing you do to the gun with your trigger. So what's happening is most people dry fire where? They dry fire in their home. They don't waste the time to dry fire at the range, which dry firing at the range is probably one of the best things you can do. Because technically, if we get to golf, for instance, I'm not the greatest golfer in the world, but I know for a fact if I can get there, I never can, but if I can get there an hour early and hit half of the bucket of balls with all my irons and my driver, and then go on to that pitching green and pitch a few balls, and then go ahead and go up to the putting range and putt a little bit, I know I'm going to golf a lot better than me rushing to get there just in time for the cart to be loaded and us run up to the first tee. Because you can think about how you're going to play. You're going to play pretty crappy for the first couple of holes, and then it's going to start sinking in, and that makes sense. So most shooters jump straight into live ammo without any kind of warm-up. And I started thinking about that when I wrote this, and I thought, I don't know of a sport that you don't have some kind of warm-up. I know I bowl. I don't do a lot of sports activity, but my family's bowlers, and we go to the bowling alley, and we get 15 minutes. We do leagues, so they give us 15 minutes of bowling prior to, because it's notoriously when they have that machine that lays down the oil, it doesn't lay it down exactly perfectly each time. So if you can take time to lay out a dry fire drill or two before you begin to live fire, you're going to find yourself being able to control anticipation and trigger pull, and bad grip, and everything will be soaked in. Because the real challenge for most students is they're doing the same exact thing over and over and over again, expecting to get better, and they're just doing the same thing. They're not adapting. They're not adjusting. They're not learning. And it's hard for someone to look at you and say, what are you doing wrong with it? I could go back and look at a large percentage of the students and tell them what they're doing wrong. Or today, a guy came back. He said, I'm shooting high and right. Well, he's a right-handed student. There's no way he's shooting high and right unless he's doing something with his right hand. He's over-torquing with his right hand. He's focused on his front post and not his back post. A right-handed shooter is more going to be shooting low and left because a trigger finger, I'm able to point that stuff out to him. The average student doesn't know what they're doing wrong. They just adjust their sight system. If they're shooting high and right, they aim further off to the left to impact in the center, not try to solve what's going on because they don't really know what to do. They're just trying to Kentucky windage the shots, and that's not the way to solve an inaccuracy problem. Dry firing, it drills, live fire, mix the two together. We did a lot of that stuff in our masterclass. In the masterclass itself, we gave them 5 live, 5 dead, and those targets were tight and solved, and people started understanding. So getting yourself a good trigger press. Now, when I talk about dry fire, guys, You need to follow the same routine you do with a firearm in your hand. One of the problems we have is when we dry fire, we know the gun's not going to recoil. So we're not going to hold on to that gun properly because we know we don't have to fight a recoil management thing. What we need to do is do one of these dummy ball and dummy drills where we put one dummy round in the mix of 4 rounds and load it in your magazine, and let's see how manipulation you have on that dummy round, and see if you dip the front of the weapon. If you dip the front of the weapon when you go to engage that dummy round because the gun's not going to fire, there's what's causing some of your manipulation. Why is doing not dry firing enough? Well, you're wasting ammo and you're reinforcing bad habits. What's the solution? Give yourself 10 to 15 dry fires, focusing on a smooth, continuous press, good, solid grip, and focusing on follow through. You're going to start stacking rounds a lot easier, and the shots are going to feel better. How many of you go to the range and you know with a shake of a head that you're shooting something or that shot didn't feel right? Well, that's telling me you're learning a little bit, right? When you engage the weapon and all of a sudden you get this real dump of the round, you can almost feel that you did something to manipulate the pistol. We need to focus on a lot of different stuff, but level pistols shoots level, and it's important that we go through the whole mechanics when we're doing it, because one thing will cause us to be inaccurate. We always talk about trigger press is probably one of those important things, but holding on to the pistol is probably important too. It's the whole system, right? They build a house across the street. You can pour concrete on the grass, but it's probably better if you scrape the grass, level it out. That's what they're doing now. They're leveling out the sod and they're doing all that stuff. You can actually build a house on nothing, but it's not going to be secure like it is when they build a house with a concrete slab. All right. Number 2 is tracking your shots. Shooters don't mark their targets to see the progress. In the masterclass, we make sure the students have multiple markers in different colors. Most of the drills that we teach you, whether it's going through the YouTube channel, whether you're going through the masterclass, whether you're going through the Handgun Academy, Handgun Training System Academy, all 3 of these markers are a big deal for us because we are doing 5 shots at a time, and majority of our targets are 20 rounds. And if we're using the same target, we're not going to be able to identify first round, second round, third round, or fourth round once I get done with you, because they're all going to be on top of each other. So what we want to do is we want to get a red marker, a blue marker, a green marker, a yellow marker, and a brown marker, or a black marker. It doesn't matter. And mark each bullet that you impact into the target. And the more we do that, the more we're going to start identifying what our groups are, what the group should be, and what we're really trying to figure out is those ones that go off or off square or something happens to them. At that point in time, then you can identify and then understand, okay, I felt that one. I shot 5 rounds, I bring it in, I look at it. Look at that one. That one, I had a bad pull today. Today I did a video about one-handed shooting. We're going to talk about here in a few seconds here. I did a 18-minute video, and I shot the weapon right-handed. I mean, one-handed, right-handed. And I shot the weapon left-handed, one-handed. And I went through a cycle of how to do it, because a lot of people don't. They just assume it's just the same thing, but it's a little. There's a technique to shooting one-handed. and I kind of shared it with the group, the YouTube channel. And one of the things I did was when I got to my fifth round, some reason, I think the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus I'm using right now is a little dirty because it didn't go to slide lock. So it didn't go to slide lock on my second shots. I did my first shots were pretty good. And when I went to go engage the trigger, because I don't count rounds. I mean, I know I put 5 in there, but when I went to go punch that last shot, and I punched the shit out of it. That front of that gun dipped down as low as it could. And that was a good training thing for me because I got excited and got those rounds down range. We used an 8-inch paper plate, had it at 3 yards, and got 100% on it, which is uncommon for me, really. With the camera on, I'm always about 2 shots short. It's just the way it is. I mean, they're not off the target, but they're not where they need to be. And I was able to get 100, but I did 5 at one and 5 at another, one-handed shooting. I could give you the whole scenario. What I'm trying to say is when I pulled that trigger instead of pressed that trigger, I knew it 100%. I could identify what I did there before I even witnessed it to the camera. Cool thing, it was on camera and it dipped. Now, I watched back on the video. I seem to think it dipped an awful lot. It didn't dip at all. I just knew that I slapped the trigger. So, in my opinion, I did over manipulate the pistol because it dropped the bullet just a little bit, especially at 3 yards. But we identify our problems is one of the reasons why we put the master class together and other training classes together to help you as shooters to identify your problems and try to solve them to become a better shooter. Why do you want to track your shots? Because it helps you understand what you're doing. Without the data, you can't fix consistent errors like low and left or missing or high and right or miss up follow shots or not following through. The cool thing is in the master class and other things like that, we always recommend you introduce some kind of training videos or some kind of video that you can put behind you. You don't need to focus on you as much as focus on your hands and focus on your shots to be able to see what you're doing wrong. The solution really is to get some colored markers or some pasties or some get your head out of the gutter, guys, or some circle hits and just circle the hits and work on understanding what causes it. Now, what we did for the groups, guys, is if you just take different color markers, do your first shot, you put a 1 on one of the side of the targets, and you mark it 1, and you got 5 is a good, 5 is 100%, and then 1 is bad, and you mark how many you feel were on the target, and that's how many you would mark. And then you bring it in and you mark that 5 shots red. And then the next 5 shots are blue, and the next shots 5s are green, and blah, 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 blah. And it helps you take each one of these targets, and then grab your phone, take a photo of it, and then see how you do the following week, cutting that same drill, doing that same target. And if we're building progress, we're going to get tighter groups, which is why most of the students who started out with any of these programs we do, they get tighter groups because they start identifying what's causing the manipulation. All right, number 3 is not practicing with a purpose. I feel that this is one of those things that people either bring targets with them or they just take the targets the person gives them. One of my pet peeves is we all seen the target, right? It's a silhouette target. It's a white target with a black silhouette on it with a big red X in the center of the target which technically is more in the gut area than it actually is in the chest area. And that's where you impact most of your shots. Instead of putting the target in your line of sight where you have a better flow, you're shooting below your line of sight, which is causing a lot of low shots because now you've got the gun at an angle of this versus an angle of straight in front of you. So coming up with some targets that you like is a key thing. In the masterclass, what we ended up doing is giving most of the students 2 to 3 targets a week. They're going to identify their best target they like and continuously use it from now on, whether it be the base one or the modified base one or the box drill or the diamond drill. You have my YouTube channel, guys. There are drills you need to know playlist, and there are plenty of targets. And the cool thing, what we do when we do a YouTube video, and it has to do with a target, we give you a free target PDF. All you have to do is ask for it, and then we send it to you. And then you're able to shoot that target. Watch the video first. It's similar to what we're doing with the master class, and it's real similar to the your handgun training system. Handgun training system is the next evolution of the master class, and it gives you 4 targets a week working with me exclusively, and you're getting feedback and everything else. When you have a problem with a target, I'm just an email. I'm just a text message. I'm just a call away to help you identify what you're doing wrong so you can improve. It's like having a firearm instructor in your pocket on your cell phone, ready to help you at any day and time you need once you're in one of our programs. If you're interested in any of that stuff, you can always sign up. All right. We will answer questions in a little bit when it comes to this stuff. Let me get to the progress and we'll go on from there. But it's the easiest way for me to do it and not have to go back and forth and get off. I'm already get off on tangents every time I do one of these, so just give me a few minutes here. Number 4 is ignoring one-handed shooting. Today's video drop is about shooting one-handed. It's about how to manipulate the pistol one-handed. It's about how to load the magazine one-handed. Well, technically, I didn't load it one-handed. It's about racking the slide one-handed. There's a lot of different stuff you need to do, but most people do not practice one-handed shooting. Whether they're afraid of it, they don't feel they're confident enough, or whatever the deal is, we do not want to have to do this without practicing it first. Most people just do exactly the same thing over and over and over again and expect it to get better. One day I'm going to get better. That's not the way it is. So working one-handed, you need to either find a good instructor or watch a couple videos. It's not rocket science. They are called handguns for a reason because they were designed to be shot with one hand. But when you're only holding the weapon with 3 fingers, basically, if you think about it, these 3 fingers are holding onto the pistol. If you're right-handed, and obviously if you're left-handed, same thing, we need to keep the weapon level as much, cant the weapon a little bit. Watch that video I dropped today. That'd be a good video for you to watch. In the masterclass, we go through the whole technique with them, how to do it, but real simple. You don't use your sights on the pistol. You use the back side of the slide. Basically, it's a flat side of the slide, and you use both eyes open, focusing on the target, cant the weapon just a little bit, and slowly press the trigger. It's the easiest way for you. When you have a weapon out in front of you and you're using your sights, you normally have the weapon below your line of sights. If you're using the back side of the slide, you've got the weapon in your line of sight, which makes it very easy to keep the weapon level. I level pistol 99% of the time will shoot level if you're not doing any kind of manipulation. One time in real life, you may have to shoot this pistol one-handed. It's most likely one of those scenarios where you get hurt in a critical defense situation, and now it's time to shoot with the non-dominant hand. That's not the time to wing it. It's the time to do it is now when there is the high pressure or high stress or big adrenaline dump. You got to be able to figure all this stuff out. I read an article one time about cops in high stress situations. 98% of those guys fall back to the weakest training. When you think about most of the agencies in the United States, the I'm not talking about the squat guys or the high risk guys, but majority of all the cops that are running around town, all the sheriff's department running around town, they qualify once a year, and they have to buy their own ammo. So kind of you look at a cop as a gun guy, but he's actually carries a gun for a living. But that doesn't mean that he's a marksman or anything else like that. They have to train just like we do. Their chances of being in a high stress situation with having to use the weapon is a lot higher than we'll ever be. But we need to focus on that stuff because remember, everything we do at the range is all about muscle memory. It's all about building that foundation and being able to do the things we need to do if we have to do it, if that makes sense. You may only have one hand available in a real life situation. The solution is add dominant hand and non-dominant hand drills. Start close at 3 yards. I don't think you need to go past 3 yards, to be honest with you. But if you can get out to 3 to 5 to 7, I did 3, 5, 7 in a video a year and a half ago, and I didn't do too bad at 7. I was surprised. But 3 and 5 were no problem for me. Left hand's a little different. I'm right-handed, right eye dominant. I keep both eyes open, but when I'm using the weapon in my left hand, I'm using my left eye. I don't know. It's just what I do. Doesn't mean you have to do that, but it's done. And I do cant it just a little bit. I do tuck my hand away from the gun to keep everything in its own place while I'm doing it. Watch that video. It just dropped today. You guys want to watch it's right probably the first video on our YouTube channel. You may have got a confirmation saying that I dropped one today. Number 5 would be skipping reload drills. Reload drills are so important. That's why we put them in everything we do. You don't have to get too technical with it, but you want to be able to do it in a timely manner. Now, keep in mind, guys, a lot of you guys go to local gun ranges that may not allow you to do some of this stuff. You want to ask permission, but there is nothing saying you can't do mag drops in your dry fire drills as well. Now, if you're doing a dry fire magazine drop, I want to make sure the magazine is completely empty. I want to make sure the gun is completely empty. There are little tiny, this little thing here. I don't know if you see. I don't know if I can show you that or not. I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera. This is a dry fire thing from green screen's not going to show up. So it's blocking me. All right. Well, anyways, it's called from Amazon. It's called Barrel Block. It's a chamber. It's a safety indicator, as well as it has a little half bullet that keeps you put that in the magazine and it stops it from going to slide lock. So you can reach up and rack it. I think those were barrel block is what it's called. Barrel, Barrel, overlook, and that allows you to rack the slide without getting in the slide lock position. Pretty cool, pretty cheap. It's a good way to train because it gives you the ability to do the dry fire, and you can do magazine drops there. One of the techniques I didn't do on camera, which I should have done, is when you drop a magazine with your hand here, if you can get your thumb to it, that's one thing. We teach a lot of mag drop with our thumb on this side, letting it fall in our hand. But when you're using your left hand, you can use this finger right here in the middle and push that magazine, being a right-handed student, and push that mag, and that'll drop that mag in your hand without having to reach around and try to do it with your other hand. So that's a good way. And there's a couple of videos on my YouTube channel about that. Shooters don't practice magazine changes under pressure. You could do yourself timers or something like that. A slow or fumbled reload can cost you in competition or self-defense. You can practice emergency slide block and tactical reloads using a timer and work for both belt and concealment setups. I'm going to tell you, the tactical reload is a little different than an oh shit reload. Oh shit reload is a emergency reload. Tactical reloads. We actually had a defensive class this weekend, and one of the drills we do is we get off the X to cover, change the magazine, which is a tactical reload. So they have 5 in there. They back up to the wall itself to get behind. They drop their magazine, stow that magazine in their pocket, get out a full magazine. Then they run left, right transitions until they're empty. And then from there, they pull the mag that they had 2 rounds left in it, put that back in their pocket, put that back in their weapon, and finish off. Tactical reloads are a little bit harder to do in a dry fire session, but you can still work on getting those mags in and out very quickly. I'd highly recommend you watch a couple videos on our YouTube channel or anybody else's to do some reload drills that'll help you tremendously. Number 6 is not drawn from concealment. You have your concealed carry. You train on a regular basis. Now, most of you are not drawing from your holster because you have no place to do it, which is not true. You do not need to fire a bullet to practice drawing from your holster. You can do it in a dry fire drill right in your bedroom. Just make sure that there's no weapon, no ammo, and make sure it's empty, and you can draw from your holster in continuous, and you get the feed of it because the weapon will be cocked. In other words, if you take a Glock and you rack it back, you're going to get that click noise, and that click is helping. Now, obviously, sooner or later, it'd be nice to do a training class that teaches you draw from your holster, which we offer here as well. But you got to crawl before you run, and that's the key thing, because you don't know how well or not as well you're going to be able to get your shirt off that weapon in a timely manner. I can tell you, pulling your shirt up and getting that weapon out and getting it in full extension there's time involved in that. And learning the draw cycle, which there is a YouTube channel. I did a full YouTube class with a guy where we did a draw from the holster. It was Mike. He's 71 years old. Was a rock star doing that whole thing, and he actually cross draw to get that thing done. And we worked on his sequence there, and he was shooting very, very quick and very accurate. The one thing I can tell you, when you're getting into defensive shooting, it's a lot different than bullseye shooting. We're still using 8-inch paper plate, but we don't worry about stacking the rounds. We worry about putting the rounds in the 8-inch paper plate in a timely manner. And the mic was doing that really, really good. If you don't draw from the holster, this creates a false sense of readiness for everyday carry situations. The solution is train with your actual concealed setup when you can. Start slow, build smooth mechanics, then add speed when you're ready. You can only shoot as fast as you can be accurate. You can only shoot as fast as you can be accurate. And we all are different when it comes to that. All right. Number 7 is no malfunction training. And this is one of those deals which is very hard to set up a malfunction. Most firearms nowadays don't malfunction very often. And if they do, it's normally user error, not gun error. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some cheap guns in the market and all that stuff like that. But it's hard for us to set up malfunction drills until they happen. And if you're in a class and one happens, it's a great opportunity for everyone to get together and learn about it. But you can set yourself up some double feeds and things like that. But you need to identify what they are. I would recommend you watch a couple videos on malfunctions and find out what is the common one. The common malfunction is a double feed. That means most likely what happens is that you are putting pressure on the slide with your thumb, and it slows the slide down enough that you have a round trying to get out of the barrel and a round trying to go in the barrel, and the gun is in a jam position. Now, there's a lot of torque or pressure on that weapon, and you have to learn how to take the pressure off the weapon to drop the magazine to get the one out to put the new one in. Great thing to train when you're not being shot at. When you're being shot at malfunction wise, it's a lot more crazier, if that makes sense. So malfunction training, shooters don't practice clearing malfunctions. In a real situation, you'll freeze up and fumble if it's gun jams in real life. The solution is practice tap rack, double feed clears, and have a buddy load a dummy round to introduce a malfunction or a surprise rep. That's the only real thing you do to get set up like that. Dummy rounds help out a lot. If you don't have them, they're very economical. You want to add those to your portfolio somewhere along the line. If you're ever at the store here and you want to practice some dummy stuff, we'll give you a couple we'll even go back with you and set your mags for you if you're by yourself. We'll help you tremendously. Those are great training tools. Number 8 is not using some kind of timer. I'm not a timer guy. I really ain't. But I think it does help certain people. With the laptops we have nowadays, with the iPhones we have nowadays, you can download some kind of timer on your phone. I don't really worry so much about how fast you're doing it. It's more about how accurate you're doing it, if that makes sense. So we can be super fast and do all that stuff, but in more accuracy ways, then I'm not worried about it. I wouldn't focus on use of shot timers until you absolutely are running the gun to your best abilities. And then we start worrying about it. So when we do these classes with students, when we do a tactical class, or we call them enhanced classes, we don't call them tactical. I don't know why we did that, but it was part of I didn't want to scare people away who wanted to get to their first training class without being so intimidated, So we call it enhanced classes. And when you get to an enhanced class and start moving with a firearm, you're dropping about 20% of your accuracy because you just started moving and you're bouncing up and down. And you can't keep the gun level and you've got a lot of stuff in the air. Now imagine if you're only 40% accurate to begin with, and when you start moving, you drop 20%. That's probably not where you want to be. So before you take a good class, you want to have some level of 65 to 70% accurate before you start anything. This weekend we did those classes. We used our sights one time. It was the first drills we did. We did five mags with sights to show them, yeah, you're accurate. Great, wonderful. Now let's do it with no sights. Let's do it with focusing on the back of the firearm. Let's focus on, using one hand versus two hands. Let's work on the stuff that really will happen if things hit the fan. Not this, same thing over again, the same rhythm. Bang, 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 bang. Magazine change. Well, we just shot 15 rounds. Let's go pull this in and see what we did. Well, okay, the first 5 are good. Where are the rest of them? All over the place. Because you can't control a weapon through 15 rounds. But you can control a weapon through 5. And out of the 15 versus 5, which is more important in the firearm? Is 6 through 15 more important than the first 5? Then the first 5 are the most important. Because if they don't do what they need to do, you ain't going to have an opportunity for 6 through 15. If that makes sense. All right. So you do you on that shot timer thing. I put it in there for a reason, because they don't time themselves, because most of them aren't ready for that. Number 2 is it's hard to measure or see what you're doing better or worse if you don't put some kind of timing solution in there. There are a lot of these dry fire tools you can put together. I'm still not crazy about any of them because there's no recoil involved. There are a few that will allow you to attach to the gun and shoot during recoil. But the solution, using a shot timer app or device to track draw speeds, splits, and transitions, challenge yourself to beat your time each week. It's a good opportunity. Just shows you where you are. I want you to focus on being your 80% best of a defensive shooter and the 20% of your best of being a bullseye shooter. I want you to be 80% more. I can hit the paper plate no matter where you put it, John. I'm not worried about hitting the 3-inch circle at wherever I put it. And that's the way we need to finish ourselves. We need to become that defensive, accurate shooter. That's more important than anything else. And, to tell you the truth, the masterclass taught me that. I've been doing this 13 years, and every student I meet, every person I meet, I learn one thing from them. And I can tell you that the more we focus on bullseyes, the less we focus. Because we build this whole, I can't do it. I don't understand what's happening. And I'm so frustrated because I know what I'm doing wrong, but I can't fix it. Versus, okay, 8-inch paper plate. I can do that. They're not on top of each other, but they're there. I'd win. And that's the key. All we got to do is win, guys. All we got to do is win. Number 9 is always shooting at the same distance. Now, this is a bad one for most people. 2 things that happen. 1, you get shooter A. He comes to the range. He hasn't shot in 3 weeks. He takes the target, puts it all the way to the back. Okay? And you look at his targets, you look at his thing, and all of a sudden he's got high, low, right, left, but not in the target because he hasn't had the time or the focus. You should always, always, always start at the shortest distance you can to get a win. And then as you get further warmed up, remember that bucket of balls at the range we talked about, right? Get it further out, get it further out, get it further out. And then once you find that, then when you're done for the day, when you're about to go home, bring that target all the way in and leave with a win. Don't leave with I missed my last 5. When will I won my last 5? And you'll feel a lot better the next time you come to the range and the next time you come. We want to live, we want to leave on a win, not leave on a loss. And it helps out tremendously with us building confidence. That's the whole thing, guys. Confidence. If you can build confidence with a weapon, you're going to be accurate. I promise you. When you're a little intimidated by the firearm, right? You're not going to be accurate. Simple stuff. I always tell people, shooting is not complicated. It's just complex. There's so many little things that can cause you to be inaccurate. But if you're able to solve each one of the ones that you have, and not, I put 15 students in a room, and each student has a separate, different little problem. And all we have to do is help him or her identify what it is. And once you've got the aha moment and you figured it out, then all of a sudden, bingo, bango, there I am. I'm a shooter. I can do this. I've got this. No issue for me. And then from there, you can outshoot your brother-in-law. Who would want to do that? Who would want to do that? All right. I don't know about outshooting your wife. I can't do that now. I can tell you that Miss Johnson's a hell of a shot. She did the TAC class this weekend, and she was shooting one-handed way out there, and didn't like it, but she was doing it. I was proud of her. All right. So same distance. I want you to incorporate 3, 5, 7, and 10 yards into all your stuff. Obviously, if you can go further than that, do it. Because if you're shooting at 50 yards with a handgun and impacting the target, a 3-yard shot should be a no-brainer. It should be almost nothing to it. But you can't start out at 50 if you can't hit 3. And there's where the waste of the ammo comes in. There's where the waste of time and energy. There's when you spend your time wasting it instead of learning from it. Number 10 is not reviewing your performance after the range. Here's the problem. Most shooters, what do? They pack up and they leave. The shooters shoot, they pack up, they leave. Okay, that's what they're supposed to do, John. No, they're not. They miss a key learning opportunity. If they mark their targets, then they can bring them in, review them, and figure out what they're doing wrong. You'll see a pattern, I promise you. When you use a red marker and a blue marker and a green marker and a black marker, your pattern will start to come about. And all of a sudden, bingo, whoa, I've got a problem here. I'm doing something with my trigger finger because my first 3 or 4 shots in the red were all together. And then all of a sudden, the 4th red went left and the 5th one went left. Well, you know what that told me? That told me I started using my finger deeper into the firearm. I wasn't maintaining my gap on the firearm. Well, I started shooting, and all of a sudden, the next one was, in the middle, and then 3 down. 3 down means you probably got the gun over your nose and not over your dominant eye, and you're tracking your finger into the gun. I've got them all right and high. Well, that means you're really focusing really tight with your right hand, and you're not getting any pressure with your left hand. Remember, when we shoot, we need to make sure we have a 60-40 split. Non-dominant hand is 60, dominant hand is 40. It's hard to give someone that focus, but I want you to squeeze hard with both hands, because when you take a firearm and you squeeze it really hard with your right hand, it's going to roll off to the right, guys. Try it. You'll do it. And if you do the same with your left hand, it rolls off to the left. When we focus two hands together, you're going to be level. And once it's level, you get no issues. And then we just work on a smooth trigger press. What you want to think about mostly is using the knowledge you get from what you do at the range to better yourself the next time you come to the range. That's why it's so important. That's why the master class works, because these students are getting to the range once a week. These students are focusing on 50 rounds. These students are using 5 shots at a time, and they're beginning to identify what's causing most of their problems, because we pointed out for them. The targets pointed out for us. And once we're able to look at the targets and see what they're doing, we can help them directly become more accurate with a pistol. And once you're more accurate with a pistol, you'd be more confident. And if you're more confident, what are you going to be? More accurate. And it's a soul cycle. It's a beautiful cycle. It works for everybody. And this is what causes majority of the inaccuracy, is not shooting enough, not spending enough time at the range. I know it's expensive, but you do not have to spend 200 rounds and come here, right? Find a membership place that has a membership. Get a system down. That's what we try to do for you guys on a regular basis, and find a good overall 3 or 4 targets you like that you can continuously compete. Now, keep in mind, range time is not supposed to be easy. Range time is supposed to be challenging. If you're not challenging yourself, then what are you doing it for? I know you want to be self-defense, blah, 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 and all that stuff, but you got to get something out of it. If you don't get something out of it, you're just wasting your time again. All right. So take time at the range to review your targets. Write down notes, log what drills you like and what you didn't like, and try to keep a training journal or use an app. I tell you, have your phone directly on. You have a note system on your phone. I use it all the time on mine. You can actually dictate to it. That's what I do nowadays. It's easy for me to do that. I use a lot of Chat GPT. I use a lot of that stuff to help my students out completely. And I try to put a lot of this stuff together for you guys. Well, that's a wrap for tonight, Tuesday night. 10 things shooters aren't doing enough at the range and how to fix it. If tonight opened your eyes on a few training gaps, that's good. That means you're growing, and growing starts with awareness. Now it's time to apply what you've learned, build a better habit, train with a purpose, and track your progress. If you found value in tonight's class, tonight's session, don't forget to hit the bell icon, the like, and the subscribe. But what I'll ask you guys while you're here is make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Majority of students that come on here are subscribed, but there are a lot of people who get unsubscribed for some reason or another. I'm in the GUN business here, and our powers to be don't like them. I do firearms training. They don't mind that as much because of safety and security, but they do. We are still wrapped all in together like everybody else. We're in that GUN, and they don't like it as much. So if you have the opportunity to subscribe to my channel, if you have an opportunity to tell somebody about our channel, we're here every week, Tuesday nights, 6 o'clock for you. We're here to motivate, educate, and entertain. And I hope I did that tonight. If you need personalized help or check it out, one of our online programs or one of our coaching calls, the links will be in the description below. The books are in the description below. The masterclass is in the description below. We have probably 4 spots left in that. If you have an opportunity to sign up for it, if you want to talk about it, but I'm putting a money back guarantee, $100 for 5 weeks to make you a better shooter. You spend more time at the range and spend more time in one day than you're going to get for 5 weeks. You're going to get a PowerPoint presentation. You're going to get a ebook on Master Your Class. You're going to get the course itself. You're going to get correlated videos. You're going to get all of the PowerPoint presentation I give you, and you get that one-on-one coaching with me, whether it be through email, whether it be through texting, whether it be through a phone call, as well as you got to do your homework. You got to put the message in. You got to do it. And then you're going to send me your target each week. I grade it, and then we get you set for the following week. First week is about foundation. Second week is about trigger. It's all about trigger, second week. Third week is about speed and accuracy. And fourth week is about moving with a firearm and getting some move fundamentals down and learning everything about it. And we would love to have you. All right, so that's the end of that. Let's go ahead and go some comments here. Let's see what we have here. Kurt Richards, thank you very much for being here. Stan, thank you. Okay, here we go. I've seen a lot of your videos on shooting low and left, but nothing on shooting high and right as a right-handed shooter. Yeah, because high and right normally means that you're focused on your front post and you're squeezing hard with your right hand. I would tell you, Kurt, you most likely want to figure out where you're aiming the weapon. Here's what I'll tell you. I want you to look the video up, which is called 6 o'clock hold, because most people are focusing in the center of the target versus focusing on the 6 o'clock hold. If you think about a lollipop and a stick, that's the way our sight system should be. Majority of the time, if you think about this, most firearms come out of the manufacturer with what's kind of called a 6 o'clock hold. And it's designed because that barrel is below your sight. And if you have that actual barrel directly in the center of the target, that's causing a lot of your high impacts. What you want to do is focus on just bringing your front post a little lower than your center sight. There is on the masterclass itself, but on the masterclass playlist, Kurt, there is a drill called the modified base drill. The modified base drill. And with that modified base drill, there's a box in the center of a circle, and that modified base drill would be a good drill for you to try because it will focus where you're supposed to be focusing on the target. High and right are normally focusing on your front post only, right? You're not leveling out your pistol, and you're squeezing hard with your right hand. All of our power, all of our strength, and all of our control comes from our non-dominant hand, Kurt, as well as you need to make sure you're using your pecs, your chest pecs, to control that weapon. Most men don't realize our hands can only give us so much power. So when we drive that pistol out using our pecs, easiest way to do this, guys, you can do this right now, is bring your hands together and squeeze your hands really tight. When you squeeze your hand tight, you'll feel your pecs kick in. Next time you're at your range, that's the way I want you to hold the pistol. I want you to hold the pistol with the pecs, not the hands. The hands got to hold it, you understand? But your power, you're over torquing here, which causes most of that high right stuff, Kurt. Any other questions about that, you can always contact us, buddy. What I'd love to see, if you had an opportunity next time you go to the range, is videotape yourself or send me a copy of one of your targets and I'll be able to help you identify it. Watch that video on the in the masterclass playlist. It's on my YouTube channel. It's called the Modified Bass Drill. Modified Bass Drill. It's a 6-inch, I think it's 6 or 7-inch circle with crosshairs with a box right underneath it. It's an awesome, awesome little drill here. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can show you this real quick to kind of give you an idea, but real fast. Modified bass drill. Where are you? Oh, here we go. Beautiful. That's it, buddy, right there. That's the modified bass drill. Now, focus this. If you took your barrel and stuck it directly in the center of this circle, where would your sights be? They would be higher than the center of the circle, and that's why you're impacting high. And this is a quadrant target, so we have top right, top left, top, bottom right, bottom left, right? What I want you to do is take this drill here, and you can actually, on that video, there are copies of this you can download. You focus directly in the center of that box, and you'll impact more in that box than you are anywhere else. This is the second drill we give all the students in the masterclass, because the first one is this same target, just empty, nothing in it, no box, no crosshairs. I give him this. I give him 50 rounds, 25 apiece, and I say, give me 2 targets with 25 rounds in it. And majority of students have about a third of their bullets are in the target, and the rest are down low where the words or writings are. That is a common issue for most people, Kurt, and I think this would solve some of your problems if you want to go ahead and do that. It would help you out tremendously. All right. All right, what's the next one? Derek Rogers said it only takes 5 minutes to dry fire. He asked me, what did I think about SIRP? I have SIRP pistols. I have them here at the store. I think they're awesome. I think they're great. I still think that without recoil, all that stuff is kind of, what causes most of the inaccuracies is the recoil management. And, that's kind of, we can work on trigger press. We can work on the release and all that stuff. But without the actual recoil management, the idea of anything is we're just trying to confuse the monster that's inside of our body. Realistically, every time you shoot this pistol, it recoils and it bangs, and that's what the internal monster is thinking. So when you go to grab a pistol, it's backing up away and it's going, oh, I don't want that recoil, I don't want that bang. But when you start dry firing, you're just confusing the body a little bit, and it doesn't know, is today going to be the day it bangs or the other day is going to bang? And so working on the recoil management is probably a good solution. I'm not saying SIRP pistols are bad. I'm just saying they don't have everything you need. That's why I think dry firing at the range is probably a better solution. 5 dry fires, 5 live fires. 5 dry fires, 5 live fires. You could take this same target I just gave Kurt there, do the exact same thing. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. It's just part of the deal, and they're expensive. They're not cheap to buy, and I'm not sure if they're helping us or hurting us. I have that Manus. I got the Manus a while back. I did 5 weeks of Manus. I did videos on them. I did YouTube videos, and I could never get out of that low left corner, and I know I wasn't pushing it there. Now, there are guys that bring those in and attach them to the firearm, and they do get some good numbers. I think I stayed around 84, 86, sometime in the 70s with that thing. It just didn't do it for me compared to other stuff. I mean, I got it for the YouTube channel. I got it for us to play around with. I thought it'd be a good video thing. But to me, it's still not the same. It's just not the same. Uh, so Aaron said, hey, I was told by my mom to stop gripping with my right hand. How do I do it with my offhand? Well, you don't grip it with your. I guess what your mom's trying to say is you got to hold on to it. There's no way not to shoot the pistol without holding on to it, or you're going to get. I don't know. I didn't say it today, but firearms are bullies, and if you give it something, it's going to take it. You just want to focus on getting a positive grip, and the positive grip, like anything, and keep going back to my YouTube channel, but there are plenty of videos on there, like 680 of them right now, guys. And a large percentage is about trigger control, sight picture, sight alignment, grip, stance, trigger control. They're all over the place. But if you watch one of those videos or any of those videos, they're going to show you a positive grip. And the positive grip starts with you picking the pistol up with a pistol. And once you pick that pistol up with a pistol, you're going to have your one hand on the weapon. Now, this is where the 40% comes from. And then what you end up doing is in the void of the firearm, you lay your other thumb on top and bring your hands together. This is, if you kind of think of making a birdie like that, and bring these three fingers around the firearm, being a right-handed student, and then bringing these four fingers around, you got a positive grip there. You want to be high on the tang as much as possible, and you want to press through the trigger. It's not really over torquing, but it's just mathematically only three fingers on your dominant hand are holding onto the pistol. Your trigger finger and your thumb are along for the ride. So naturally, our four fingers on this hand are going to have to hold on a little tighter. And if we hold on a little tighter, we're going to keep that weapon more controlled. It doesn't matter which pistol you use, whether it's a single stack or a double stack, you still want to get a good positive grip. And what tends to happen, most students, they tuck the thumb and have this thumb blocking this hand from touching the weapon. So when you watch a two thumbs forward grip, which is a large percent of the instructors train that way, we don't do any tuck thumbing or anything else like or cross thumbing or anything, because the moment you tuck a thumb, then when you put your other hand on it, you have to squeeze your hand, which in turn squeezes the thumb, which causes some high and right too, which could be what Kurt is doing as well, is he's got his thumb stuck or tucked into the grip. I'd recommend you look at the grip too, Derek. Maybe that may be something that we can look at. I would recommend you take a good video, maybe even while you're at the range. Go ahead and do something like that. You'll be able to get yourself better controlled. I would love to help you in any of that stuff, Kurt. Definitely 100%. It'll definitely give you a little bit more confidence. Any other questions? Going once. Any other questions? Going twice. Any other questions? Going three times. All right, guys. Well, that's Tuesday Night Live at the range. We appreciate you being here each week. If you know a friend or a family member or anybody else like that that needs my help, I'm here. If you're local, obviously 30 miles from our store, you're more than welcome to come down. We do classes almost every day. and we can help you become the best shooter you can be. If you're from somewhere else, I've had a student from the Antarctic come on vacation to Florida and do a class with us. So I can tell you they do come. And I had to he didn't even tell me he was one of my students. He just said when he was here that he drove an icebreaker in the Antarctic, and he'd been watching our videos. All right. I don't know what that's about. All right. So if there's nothing else, I appreciate you guys very much. God bless. Be safe. And remember, you are your first line of defense. I'll see you guys. Have a great night.